Hi everyone, my name is Nathan. Oh, that's a little loud. My name is Nathan Snively. I was working here at the Technical College under Robert McCrite, our IT director. So let's just get into it. So our responsibilities as a department, this is spread across two of us full-time, Robert and I, and then a part-time IT helper, his predecessor. He retired a few years ago and he still comes in and helps out. So we are in charge of about 400 plus students, around 100 staff and faculty, which combined will make up to 800 to 900 end devices, being your laptops, your desktop computers, Promethean boards and boards like those ones in the back there, things like that. We also are in charge of email, which over the course of the summer we switched from Gmail to Outlook, which has been a nightmare. And then obviously your networking infrastructure, your switches, routers, all that fun stuff. So NCK Tech is spread across two different main campuses and then several satellite sites. There's Beloit's main campus, and then out over that way a little bit, we have our heavy equipment operations. We have to take care of beaming internet out there. And then there's Hayes, and out in Hayes, there's the Big Creek campus, which is using an old military site, if I'm not wrong. And then there's obviously their main campus. And then Hayes Med is now hosting a small CDL program for us out there. So we had to make sure all of those locations were up and running. There were a lot of runs to Hayes and some long nights. So one of the things we were working on is using Active Directory and our new Outlook emails to have single sign-on. So you would have the same password for a computer here, for your email, anything like that. And another thing we were working on is switching over from not having VLANs to having VLANs to segment our network down a little bit and allow for easy compartmentalization, I'll say. So another thing we were working on is desktop and monitor deployment. So we got 120 new monitors. They're all pretty expensive. And we had to go and put those in for faculty and staff. I think it was just them, maybe some others got some new stuff. And along with those, we got 60 new desktop computers, and each of those were having 2 monitors. And we went around Hayes and here, and we were putting those in. That took quite a long time. That picture is just us working on updating and upkeep for about 40 laptops over at Hayes Nursing. So the things I learned about network shared drives, so just allowing it so that we would have all of our nursing department able to access the same files. Or one thing is your desktop is stored on our server, so if you're in Hayes or you're in Beloit, you have the same desktop. And then obviously I learned a bit about batch scripting. One thing in IT is we all commonly like the big languages that can do a lot of stuff, but every once in a while you got to go back to those old MS-DOS days and use the command line. So I learned quite a bit about that, and I learned it's a lot more useful than I thought it was. And then we also learned about triage and help desk. So triaging is just getting a machine in, diagnosing problems with it, and then implementing solutions. And then help desk is just working with people. Computer people aren't usually the most social, so this was kind of a challenge for me, but I think it's been a bit of a help. So I also learned a bit more about the business side of things, which I wasn't expecting. One of which being department finance. So how we get funding for certain things. Some of the things that Robert and his predecessor have set up that have allowed us to get machines for free or cheap, that allow us to run such good machines for such a relatively small budget that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And I also learned about imaging, which is just setting up, copying the setup from one machine and putting it onto another. And that allows us to quickly distribute new machines out very quickly. I also found out that TrueImage, which is a software, is very expensive. Speaking of expensive, licensing. Like half of our budget goes to licensing for a bunch of different software that half of us never use. So some of that software is email. So we have about 1,000 licenses we have to take care of now on email. Bamboo, which is just using employee time cards, Great Plains, which is our finance server, and then antivirus. We spend what, like $60,000 a year on antivirus? You said something wild like that. It was nuts. I loved a lot about this internship. There was a lot of technical knowledge I got a grasp on dealing with people. There isn't much I'd change, but I would change time. I felt like I was just touching the tip of the iceberg on a lot of this stuff. 8 hours a day just wasn't enough for me to feel like we had gotten a lot done. We were always running around and all that, but it just, I don't know, we could have done more. So the main points are what I learned, what I liked, and what I'm going to do going forward. So I learned technical skills and a little bit about business administration. I liked the nice balance between carrying computers around and getting a little bit of exercise and setting them up. And in the future, I'm going to be doing something this fall with Robert where I'll be keeping our Success Center open a little bit longer so that we can help students out and take a little bit of the load off of him, because 1,000 machines is quite a lot to take care of. And in the future, after I finish this year of IT, this is going to sound very repetitive. I'm planning on probably going to K-State for robotics. So if you have any questions, now's the time.